Hello, Forrest North, and my role is co-founder and CTO. Jason came to me through a friend introduction and wanted to make an electric motorcycle because I had done that before. Various people have come to me over various years, decades, and said, I want to make an electric motorcycle. So we worked together on a motorcycle, and then we decided to pivot, and we started working with a Fuse project. And they presented to us a branding and naming strategy, and they so literally found out about TELO in a meeting with Jason, listening to Eve Bahar say, "Here's TELO." I grew up in the woods of Washington, and so you can, with a small vehicle, you can get to more locations. I was a motorcyclist before, so being using a motorcycle to go somewhere, you can really get out there. In the recent time, vehicles have gotten so big that it kind of becomes an impediment to actually exploring. So I love the compactness. I love our form factor. We were both big fans of K-Trucks, which had that form factor and functionality. My first vehicle was a Volkswagen bus. It was just quite narrow, and they're really not that big in modern standards. And then I had an SR5, which was like the precursor to the Toyota Tacoma. And I took that thing everywhere. I mean, where there were no roads, I took that two-wheel drive pickup truck. I love the form factor, and I love packing all sorts of capabilities into it. I mean, I started working, I've always been interested in alternative energy, alternative housing, and alternative transportation. So my aunt had a straw bale house with off the grid on solar panels, and I loved that and helped them work on their house. I researched alternative energy for vehicles, and at the time there weren't really any electric vehicles. This was in the 90s, and I found out from my biology teacher that there was a solar car team at Western Washington University, and they were putting on a competition for high school students. So in high school, I built my first electric solar-powered vehicle. Kind of looked actually a bit like the Aptera if it was about this big. And I went and raced at that race, came in third, had a great time. And then when I was applying for colleges, I had actually never heard of Stanford. Literally, I'd never heard of the word. I grew up in a log cabin in the woods. We had 2 TV stations, and they were both Canadian. So my high school career counselor said, I think you'd be a good fit for this school. Check out their brochure. And so I kind of looked through their brochure. And then I wasn't sure if I'd be interested because I didn't know if they had a solar car team or not. And I was really excited about the solar car. So I went to kind of like a welcome to Stanford Day in Seattle. And it was all put on by software programmers because that was everyone who lived in Seattle. But they said there was a solar car team. So I was super excited, went to school there, joined the solar car team the first moment that I really got to school. Raced in the 1995 Sun Race competition in the US. Then raced in Australia in 96 in the World Solar Challenge. Also went to Japan. A few times raced on the Suzuka circuit and was sponsored by Yomiuri Shimbun, which is one of the largest newspapers in the world. Another member of the solar car team a member of my class was J.B. Strobel. He lived a couple blocks away and was converting a Porsche to electric. So I remember going over to his house, seeing when he had just gotten the motor in and it was starting to work. There was a bunch of people who got together who wanted to build. We were calling it at the time the long-range EV demonstration. I don't know if we even had a name for it. I think it was mostly JB's idea. And the idea was to take a solar car, which is super aerodynamic, and just fill it with these 18650 batteries, and then drive on one charge all the way across the US, just as like a demonstration. And it mapped out on paper we could do that. I think I went to 2 of those meetings, and then I stopped going, but that basically turned into Tesla. To the early team at Tesla. So I was out of biotech at the time. And to back up a little bit, when I was graduating, that's when they were crushing all of the electric cars. So my electric car dreams were literally being crushed by the big automakers. So I was like, well, there's a future in biotech. So I was kind of doing robotic high throughput screening for drug discovery. I heard through the networks that friends were starting Tesla, joined in 2005, right there, literally next door. Started working on the battery pack on the ESS team is what it was called. So I stayed there for a few years. I left when there was a lot of weird stuff going on at Tesla. I left to start an electric motorcycle company called Mission Motors. 2 years after I left, I think one of the things that Tesla did really well is that Elon came in and he put J.B. Strobel in charge of all of engineering. It really flattened the engineering organization, and then pretty much they made every right decision after that. If I would have made it through those couple of years of pandemonium, I would have liked to have been there when they were making all the right decisions. What I like to do for fun, I snowboard and I windsurf. Those are my favorite activities. I also have a little 16-foot Hobie cat. I take my kids out sailing. I love to be outdoors, hiking, mountain biking, but my heart is really in windsurfing and snowboarding, I would say.
So the TELO's perfect for you.
It's perfect, yeah. It's gonna put the windsurf boards and the kite surfing, like, can all go in. Mountain bikes, it's perfect. Time and money. Yeah. It's engineering takes time. Some of the failed EV companies before us were in a period of time where money was really free, and so they kind of tried to jump right to the end. So just kind of go from 0 to 100, crank out mass-produced vehicles. But there's a lot of engineering that happens at each stage, which is important, and it builds on itself. And that I watched that happen at Tesla. I saw how that happened, and that has proven to be, a long-lasting, durable company, and I think because of that, they did the right things in the right order. And I never thought I'd be back making vehicles. I really thought, after Tesla, like, okay, everyone knows that EVs are here, like they're just going to happen. Everyone's going to just jump on board, and to like 20 years later being like, no, there's still a hole in the market. There still needs to be more EVs is kind of crazy. But it's an amazing opportunity. And now there's all these things that are off the shelf. That really does speed things up, because the things that are off the shelf have been tested, they've been shocked and vibed, they've been put in harsh environments, they've passed all these tests, which take time and take engineering and take iterations. And so now they exist. And the thing that is harder is some of the core technology, which is the battery pack itself, the form factor. So we're really enabling a form factor because we have expertise in batteries. That's a great question. I see TELO in 5 years being a big company, producing our own vehicles in our own factory, being graduated from contract manufacturing, having our third vehicle launched and being produced, and having an amazing engineering team that can tackle any challenge.
What's the second vehicle?
You'll find out. Tacos. Yeah.
Favorite taco? Or taco
Fish
place?
tacos.
David's the only pizza so far.
Yeah.
Everyone else
I love pizza, but I also
can't find
want to live,